Okay, all you Batman fans out there, you are listening to the Night of the Batman, and this is Jim Starlin, who had a little bit to do with Batman along the way. Have a good one.
Hey guys, welcome to Night of the Batman. I'm Alex, and I'm once again joined by
Jacob Edgar, thanks for having me back.
Sure Thing, man. And we're here to talk about that big project that we teased last time, Plastic Man No More. So I guess we can go ahead and basically I thought the premise was kind of like it's kind of different from a lot of Plastic Man stories where it's a lot less goofy. It's like I think in the description it described it as like noir or something, which is like
Mhm.
usually a little bit heavier than like stuff that Plastic Man is involved in. So like
Sure.
what was it like working on that? I know that you handled some of the quote unquote lighter flashbacks. Did you what was your experience on that?
Yeah, it definitely is kind of a subversive take on Plastic Man. It's a bit heavier than maybe he's been seen before or people might have expected. I think of it as a dark comedy. I know Chris Cantwell, he's the writer. He's been referring to it a lot as body horror and his big Cronenberg influence on it. I have seen noir thrown around, but yeah, I just think of it as a dark comedy and in some ways a satire. Like the pages that I do, and I know you've read it.
Yeah.
This isn't a big spoiler, but like when the whole Justice League bursts out laughing at Plastic Man, I don't really take that. My interpretation of it is not literal. It's like an exaggeration of Plastic Man's perspective, basically, is how
Yeah.
I think of it. So that's been really fun to play with.
Yeah, that was the thing I kind of noticed too, is like it kind of gave me like Super Friends vibes at first until I kind of realized what they were doing with like the flashbacks where it was kind of like it's like Plastic Man is much more, and I don't like I said before we started recording, I'm not as familiar with his world, but he seems like a much more like I wouldn't say pathetic, but maybe kind of just like you feel sorry for him. Like he's like
Yeah.
he's ignored. There's even a scene, and I know I think this is one of the scenes that you did where like he's just trying to talk to the league and like everyone is like literally just talking. You don't even see his word balloons, like they're covered up by everybody
Yeah.
else's. Yeah. Like I thought that was pretty cool and effective scene. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I think he has been at times, I guess he gets some spotlight, but it seems like he gets kind of forgotten about in the mainstream of DC. So it's good that he gets his own book and his time to shine. Although, I mean, given the title and everything that's going on, it might be a brief time to shine. We'll see.
Yeah. I know definitely like it's and I don't since I'm not as familiar with it, we definitely do get to see like a little bit more of like his family life in this and
Mhm.
kind of like the stuff with this. You definitely get to see more like pathos in this with like his kid and everything. And I'm not as familiar with that with like his family life. Like I said, the thing I saw him in was Brave and the Bold before this, where it's
Yeah,
much more comedic, like Batman just trying to keep him from stealing money. Basically,
right.
I think in this one they even say something about like he's not even a good crook or something like that. Like he's he seems to be like the only thing he's kind of mildly good at is being a hero slash like kind of being the funny guy of the group.
Yeah, that's kind of the midlife crisis he's having while he's dealing with possibly dying. Is was I a good dad? Was I even a good superhero? I wasn't even a good crook before that. So he's literally and internally falling apart.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of the flashback aspect of it, there was one part I actually did take some screenshots. There was one part that kind of stood out to me. It kind of actually made me laugh a little bit. I'm gonna pull that up right here. But there was a moment with like one of the villains because they have like they have stuff like a death ray in this, and
Mhm.
one of the scenes, I think, yeah, like the the bad guy in this is like, tell that to my death ray, asshole. Like it's like I
Yeah.
enjoyed that, like his it felt like his like expression there. Like I
Oh
really
yeah.
like that crazed look that you drew him with. I thought that was like a really fun scene. But
Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah. Crazed is definitely what I was going for. So that's good.
Yeah. And then did they because I know it's different sometimes. Some writers, like say like an Alan Moore, is like very specific with like what he wants. I know some writers are like give you a little bit more like leeway and like kind of let you give you more freedom with how you render things. Were you
Hmm.
kind of told like this is the certain way I want it, or did they give you like freedom to kind of like and kind of like Plastic Man, like stretch out a little bit, or
Hmm.
was there any like direction, or they kind of just let you do your own thing?
It was fairly open-ended. So they brought me on. Uh, I think Alex was already attached. Alex Lenz, who's doing the bulk of the book. And then they brought me on specifically for my style and what I could bring to the Justice League pages. So they already knew um, basically how I would make things look, and that's what they were looking for. And
Nice.
then the script was pretty straightforward. It wasn't an Alan Moore like down to what the bricks in the background look like or anything like that. It was
Yeah.
basically just a description of what's going on, and then I could play as far as what the designs look like and all that kind of stuff was really up to me.
Nice. Do you like I know in the past I've asked you what kind of stuff do you like do you like drawing Plastic Man? Like, is that like a fun thing for you to kind of like draw like a stretchy kind of character and like you know that kind of thing?
It is fun. Yeah, I've never worked on this type of character before. I've never gone like you, I've never gone too deep on Plastic Man. He's in a couple of Justice League stories I have on the shelf, but no, he's definitely fun to play with his powers and trying to get expressions out of him while he's got those big goggles on
Yeah.
is a fun thing. Cartooning an expression onto the goggles that really shouldn't move, but
Yeah.
it's comic books, so
Yeah, you give a little bit of allowances, like artistic license to it, because
yeah,
otherwise it'd just be like static the whole time, and that wouldn't necessarily, work.
right.
But yeah. Yeah, he's been kind of like a background character. Other than Brave and the Bold, like for the most part, like he's just been like it might just be because a lot of stuff now goes for like that grittier feel, maybe that's
Hmm.
why people have kind of strayed away, because he is kind of like a goofier like superhero. Like he was made at a time when like it was a little bit maybe more silver agey kind of vibes
Sure.
to it, so
Yeah.
I get it. I know a lot of people actually wanted Jim Carrey when he was younger to like play like a Plastic Man. Like I thought that would be cool, but yeah.
Would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now did you have now that was the big project, obviously. Are you is it just are you working on all the issues for this? Is this a limited series, or is it like an ongoing?
It's a limited series, so it's 4 issues, and I
Okay.
do have little chunks of all of them. So Alex will be the main artist the whole way through, but I'll be in bits and pieces along the way. Basically anytime when Plastic Man's interacting with the Justice League, that's when I come in.
Nice. Um, cool. And did you have any other I know like obviously um if it's something you can't talk about yet, did you have any other projects too besides Plastic Man that people can look forward to, or
Yeah, for as far as things I can talk about, I'm doing variant covers on the new Green Hornet Miss Fury series at Dynamite. I think the
oh,
first issue comes out in November. I'm doing covers on that. And then Brian Michael Bendis, are we're deep into working on volume 2 of the Ones, our create your
Nice.
own book at Dark Horse. And then I'm also working with Nate Cosby on finishing up our Kickstarter, The Daring Double Life of Ace Adams. So we hope to get that wrapped up and shipped out to all the backers soon.
Nice. Tell me about that last one you just mentioned, The Daring Life of Ace Adams, it is?
Yeah, so it's set in sort of a fantasy version of 1940s, 50s-ish Hollywood.
Hmm.
And our hero is a stuntman by day, and then he's also a bright, swashbuckling, Superman-esque hero called Whiz Bang. And then at night, to deal with the seedier sides of the city, he has this alternate persona who's a dark sort of Batman type called the Black Dog. So there's a lot going on in this guy's head. he's he's got some personality issues going on probably. So yeah, stuntman and then 2 superhero identities. So
Nice.
that's where the title comes from, the daring double life of Ace Adams.
Sounds cool. I've noticed with a lot of your art, obviously, do you like the kind of like retro vibes? Like that's kind of your thing. Like you like the retro kind of like golden agey type stuff. Like
Mhm.
where does that come from? Is that just something you like to draw, or were you at an early age, like was that like what kind of stuff you read, that kind of thing, or
I think it developed over time.
hmm.
The stuff that I first remember reading was like Jim Aparo, Batman, and Norm Brayfogle, that kind of stuff. But I
Nice.
was also watching Batman the Animated Series at the time, which is that one has kind of a throwback retro Art Deco look to it. And then I don't remember if we talked about this last time, but Jim Lee is who made me want to draw comics.
He's one
And
of the
so I
greats.
started yeah, and so I started out trying to draw that way or thinking that I would draw that way. And then I went kind of total opposite of that way.
Yeah, you found your
Um
style.
yeah, it just developed over the more that I got into what I liked developed and it seemed to be that just the stuff that I was drawn to was the older stuff.
Nice. Um, cool. And then you had mentioned something else before that the project before the double life thing. Like one of the other things you were working on. I don't remember what that was though.
Oh, the ones.
No, before that it was because we talked about the ones last time.
Oh, the Green Hornet covers.
Yeah, what you mentioned another character.
Miss Fury.
Yeah, who what is that?
She's another classic pulp character.
Hmm.
She's very similar. I think some Miss Fury fan out there is going to get really upset with me. I I don't know all that much about her. She seems like a Catwoman type.
Okay.
She wears a full black suit and she has these little ears that come off of her mask. So that's the way that I'm treating it as sort of a Catwoman type character.
Nice. And that comes out pretty soon.
First, yeah, first issue in November from Dynamite.
Gotcha. And cool. Also thinking of like because you mentioned earlier Batman the animated series, and this is kind of a tangent. Did you watch the new Cape Crusader show on Amazon?
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
what do you
dug it.
think? Yeah. I feel like for me, and this is like a bigger thing, I feel like since I'm such like a huge Batman fan, I feel like I'm a little bit more picky with stuff. I did like it
Yeah.
like a good bit, but I think I still have like animated series for me. Like there's just more emotion they go into with that original animated series. And I think that was missing for me. But yeah, I did like it. There was definite aspects of it that were really cool. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think it's a good foundation for them to build on. Hopefully they get more seasons and it seems like I'm not in animation, so I don't
Hmm.
necessarily know. Maybe I'm wrong. It seems like the animation is a little limited by budget. Like at times it
Yeah.
seems a little stiff or there could be more emotion in the faces. So hopefully they can get some more budget and beef those things up.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed that. I remember I remember seeing the trailer and be like, it looks fine, but I feel like what you were saying where it's I don't know if you've also seen Invincible where they kind of do that too, where they'll have
Yeah,
like they even make a joke about it at one point where they'll like have like a tight close up of like their eyes or something just to save on budget a little bit. And once you
right.
like kind of know about that, it's kind of hard to ignore it when you see like animation taking like shortcuts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, cool. And then yeah, so unless you had anything else involving Plastic Man or just in general with your new project or your Kickstarter, I'll include a link
Okay.
afterwards. But if there's anything else that you maybe wanted to point people to, like either your Instagram or like anything else where people could check out more of your work, you could, tell people about that now.
Yeah, on Instagram and Twitter/X, I'm at JCB Edgar. All my stuff's on there. I keep everything up to date about what's coming out, and I think those are the only projects that I can really talk about. And then Jacob Edgar Art on Etsy for prints and sketches and all that kind of stuff.
I had a feeling because I know you couldn't talk about the project for a while, but when I follow him on Instagram. So like when like you had showed like different like panels and stuff or like different black and white images of like
Hmm.
I saw Plastic Man or like a Justice League thing. I'm like, is he doing Justice League? Like I was sitting there like Batman trying to like decipher what was going on. But yeah, like definitely like really cool guys. If you like retro style or kind of like that Dick Sprang kind of like Fleischer-esque like art style, then definitely check out Jacob's stuff. It's great. And also support his Kickstarter. I heard the premise just now and it sounds really cool. Definitely that whole it kind of like your premise for it kind of reminds me of like the art that was for the flashbacks in Plastic Man, where it's like that kind of on the surface, kind of like retro at first seems
Hmm.
like, oh, kind of fun, like lighthearted stuff, but with that like tinge of like this dark underbelly kind of thing.
Yeah,
Would you say
yeah.
that that's like one of the things that you like to do, like is just have like that kind of because I like that stuff too, where it's like on the surface seemingly light, but like there's that darker underbelly to it. Are you
Yeah,
drawn to that?
I think that's some of the magic, like talking about Batman the Animated Series again. It's like that's an all ages show, but
Hmm.
when you watch it now, especially as an adult, it's like there's really a lot of heart here, a lot of pathos.
Yeah.
And it is pretty dark at times too. So that's what I try and lean into. The comics that I like to do is there's adventure, there's fun, everybody can get something out of it, but there's some real meat and weight behind what's going on too, hopefully.
Yeah. Do you so when you draw, I know that some writers when they write, they'll like for instance, Scott Snyder, when he was starting out on New 52 Batman, he used to have in the background like Batman the Animated Series.
Mhm.
Do you like listen to music when you draw, or do you have like something going on in the background, or is it just quiet, like you need to focus on like what you're doing? Like what's your thing with that?
Yeah, I definitely like background noise. It's usually podcasts or something, a TV show or YouTube or something going on the iPad. I try and keep it to something that is not very like visually distracting. So I probably wouldn't put on something like Batman, an action type thing where I'd be tempted to look away and then I'm not drawing.
Yeah.
So I tend to go for like long form podcasts, interview shows, something I could just listen to, a really talky show. I used to watch because I had never watched Mad Men, and then
Okay.
I found that was a good show to work to because I could it's just people talking, so I could just cut that on and almost treat it like a radio play.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I used to, before podcasts were really a thing, when I was younger, I used to have like a sketch pad and I would have like audio commentaries on of like a movie or something that
Hmm.
I'd seen before just as like background. Like I guess that's the closest to before we had podcasts. Well, I guess radio shows are the closest we had before podcasts, but like
Right.
commentaries are kind of similar. But yeah, like I definitely have to have something going on in the background because otherwise I'll probably it's weird. Like other people are like I have to focus, but me, I'm like I gotta have like you have to have something in the background. Otherwise I'll just be like, But yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
I do like it quiet if I'm writing. Typically, if I'm writing, I'll have it just quiet or maybe instrumental music, something that doesn't have lyrics.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's just more mental for me is doing the writing. But when I'm drawing, I've got to have something going.
Yeah. For me, and I know some people do this, if I'm writing like an emotional scene, because I do write as well, I'll listen to sometimes like sad music or something
Okay.
like that,
Yeah.
just to kind of get myself in that mindset. Sometimes it helps the writing, and then other times I'll come back and I'll be like, it's not as good. Maybe do another pass or something. It just
Right.
depends. But yeah, music definitely helps. I usually sometimes I'll listen to music and have it be like a soundtrack for whatever the scene is going on in
Yeah.
there. But that's cool. Awesome. So yeah, so roundabout way of saying all the links will be included here. You guys should definitely check them out. Thank you once again for coming on. And yeah, so definitely go read Plastic Man No More and keep an eye out for all of Jacob's other podcasts or not pod. Thinking of the outro right now, all of
Yeah.
Jacob's like other work that he's doing. So once again, Jacob, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming back on and talking about your work.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And this is Night the Batman, and we will come up with an outro eventually. Awesome. Cool. Let me just okay, cool. And I don't since I'm not as familiar with it, we definitely do get to see like a little bit more of like his family life in this and
Mhm.
kind of like the stuff with his son. Was sorry guys if you hear my cat making noise or anything, it's just trying to break in. It also has opinions on Plastic Man. That give me
Oh,
one
okay.
second. I'm gonna go and with my wife, well, actually, because she's making a lot of noise. I'll be right back.